Do you guys ever get tired? Exhausted, maybe? Well, let's talk about 5E's exhaustion system. I'm Alex.
I'm Cody.
And we're going to be talking about why it feels a little bit weird when you get exhausted in DnD. And no, I don't mean actually tired at the game board.
Yeah, you napping players, wake up!
So first things first, we should probably look at 5E's exhaustion system. You know what I mean? It's disadvantage on ability checks, which makes sense. I mean, exhaustion is kind of like you just went for a run and now you're a little bit tired. Ability checks makes sense. It's not really too effective. And then even when you get 2 points of exhaustion, your speed's halved, which kind of makes sense. If you're pretty tired, you're not going to be able to run a marathon. And then really rounding it all off with 3 exhaustion points, you get a disadvantage on the rest of your check. So it makes sense. And that might be argued that it could happen a little bit earlier because it's not too effective for just ability checks either. But now we're talking about exhaustion points number 4. And you just got punched in the face. Your HP is literally half. If my health was cut straight in half, what would I be like? An arm less? That kind of doesn't make sense.
Ouch. So tired, my leg fell off.
Yeah, seriously. It might feel that way, but it hasn't yet.
Right.
And then exhaustion number 5, you can't move anymore. Your speed is 0, which is essentially you're incapacitated. So that would mean that you can't do anything anymore. You have to wait for rescue at exhaustion 5. And then really with exhaustion point number 6, you die, which kind of feels lame. Because I'm pretty sure if there was something like a magic item that could apply exhaustion, or maybe if the exhaustion was multiplied once or twice from somebody who actually utilizes it, this could be super detrimental. Because now it's actually times 2 exhaustion and this guy literally just died. It doesn't really feel that right. And I gotta tell you guys, when it comes to exhaustion, it's almost never used at the table. So I kind of feel like that means it needs to be fixed, or at least tweaked in some way. And I get that one D&D's got some tweaks, but I think we have a few of our own.
Yeah. And who's going to play that game anyway? No, I'm just kidding. It actually is looking kind of okay now. But yeah, realistically, the exhaustion system in D&D isn't that bad. But there's plenty of homebrew systems that exist and are popular to fix it or completely replace it for a reason. So let's chime into that. We came up with one that we like a lot that we just started using at our table, and it's gone pretty well so far.
Yeah, super simple to use, too. You don't have to remember much.
Yes. Like Counterspell is kind of the same way, like 5E's exhaustion system. A lot of people don't really even use it because they don't want to look up the rules to how to use it, and they don't really remember every step. So this will simplify that a little bit. The first thing about 5E's exhaustion system that is kind of an issue for some people is the fact that it's just hard to keep track of and inconsistent. Each level, something almost completely different happens, so you have to remember which happens when, and that can be kind of hard. The second thing a lot of people don't like is the scale of realism where the first level, you only have disadvantage on your skill checks and nothing else. It's just kind of like, you'd have that with like a bad stomach ache, you know?
Yeah, very light punishment.
Is that really exhaustion at all? Whereas once you're getting to the end, you just die. You don't go unconscious at level 6 of exhaustion, you just die. So there's a pretty wide range there that some people don't really like how wide that range is. This is our system that we came up with. Take what you like, comment the stuff that you think is way too much, and maybe we'll tweak it a little bit. At exhaustion level 1 in our system, you have disadvantage on skill checks, attack rolls, saving throws. Any roll you make with a d20, you have disadvantage.
Pretty much everything. And that makes sense. To start off the setting of, actually tired or exhausted.
Right. You're more than dehydrated. You more than have a stomach ache. The kinds of things in 5E's exhaustion level 1 should be things that are lingering from every single battle you have. Also, at level 1, if you wanted to make it gritty and really set in the impact of being exhausted right away, at level 1, your speed is cut in half.
And I kind of like this too because it helps to reiterate everything all at the same time, and the rest is super easy to follow with. So you already have your negatives set in stone, and then you can keep going.
Yep. So at level 1, disadvantage on every d20 roll, and your speed is cut in half. Plain and simple. You are exhausted. Right at level 1. Level 2, get ready. You ready for this simplicity? It's going to be crazy. It's the exact same thing as level 1, and you subtract 2 from your rolls. You're already exhausted. It's just a little worse. And the best part about the whole system, get ready. Point 3 and 4 are next. At level 3, it's the same thing, but you subtract 3. See? Level 3, subtract 3 from the roll. Easy peasy. Level 4, the exact same thing. but you subtract 4 from all your rolls. We do have the same amount of exhaustion levels as 5e in our system. So at level 5, the last level that you can really take, it is the same situation, but you subtract 5 from your rolls, and your speed is 0. So you can't move. At this point, really, you can just talk falteringly, and a lot of the checks that you would make involving you moving at this point aren't even actually going to be possible thematically. But any other roll that you could make at this point, as far as checks or anything like that go, is going to be at disadvantage -5. And level 6, are you ready? This is the last one. You can't take any more than this. You are unconscious until you are helped. And if you're not helped within a day, or if there's more pressure than that, then you die.
Yeah, so this is kind of like, he's coding, get to him quick. It's not, you've literally just died of exhaustion. Like, I don't feel like the last level exhaustion should be heart attack.
Right, exactly. The vast majority of times when people get exhausted that bad in real life, they don't actually die right away. A lot of times they'll black out and go in and out. If you hear that in a lot of like survival stories and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, people would black out for days at a time and then come back for a second.
Okay, so for real, what level of exhaustion would you give somebody stranded in the desert, literally blacking out, about to die? You know what I mean? Like, that would be not able to move, and if somebody doesn't help him soon, he's gone. Mm-hmm. But somebody could help him. It's happened plenty of times. People live like 14-something days without food and water.
Yeah, those stories are crazy. Also, real quick, we do have merch. We'll have a link in the description to our merch stuff. And if you like what you're seeing here, then feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We've got plenty more coming out soon, too. So now that we laid all the levels out there for you, we did have a bit of a variant rule. If you don't want everything smashing down on your player at level 1, we did save the system so that you could cut the speed in half at level 2 instead of level 1. Then level 1's just disadvantage on all d20 rolls, which is a nice middle ground if you think that it's a little too much at level 1. But I'm a jerk, so I love it.
But also, if you were going to use this system, it would encourage people to actually use exhaustion points too, because you don't die from it. And some classes actually use it as a mechanic, and that's kind of lame, having a mechanic that could kill you.
Yes. Speaking of that, there is a few pointers we wanted to give if you were to use this exhaustion system instead, and that's in one of them, so let's get to that. There are indeed some classes that have exhaustion baked into some of their features and abilities and stuff. For example, I know the Barbarian, when they do Frenzied Attack, their Frenzied Attack ability actually gives them a point of exhaustion afterwards. So with our system, exhaustion level 1 is very impactful compared to 5e's. So you might want to consider, if you have a Barbarian at the table using Frenzied Attack, to maybe stick with their first level of exhaustion being the same as 5e's. And then if they were to get another stack after that, then maybe bump back up to level 2 of ours. And the only other last thing that's like a be careful with this situation is if you're a DM that uses exhaustion somewhat commonly in your games. I know a lot of people kind of don't, but if you do, you might want to consider using it either more sparingly or making sure that this is like a moment that your players are actually exhausted. Because in this system, it really does hit them all level 1.
Yeah. But if you did have a survival game, exhaustion after a battle, exhaustion after this, exhaustion after that, get them hard. I'm kidding.
Crush them. No. But the other cool thing is, ours isn't that bad at the next couple stacks. So the first stack is rough. The second, third, and fourth stack is just slightly worse until they can't even move after that.
Right. And honestly, if you did want to start using this at your table, a really simple way to do it, 1 point of exhaustion if you didn't get a good night of sleep. If you didn't finish your rest, or if you didn't even try to rest last night, 1 point of exhaustion. It only makes sense.
Yeah. The other go-to time to implement exhaustion is if your players are trying to get somewhere really fast. They're traveling a long distance. Yeah, you can travel through the night. You'll get there before morning even. You'll be there to give the goblins at this fortress a big sneak attack. It'll be awesome. Mm-hmm. But you will have exhaustion if you travel through the night like that.
For real. Or ask them their pace. If they're going at a normal pace or a stealthy pace, obviously you're not getting exhausted. But if you're running all day, that's 1 point of exhaustion for sure. Sure, you're probably just running to like a camp to sleep, but maybe something happens in the middle. Mm-hmm. But there are 1,000 different kinds of exhaustion systems that have popped up all throughout D&D's history. If you've got one, leave it down in the comments. Any critiques, leave those there too. But until next time, guys, we'll see you all later.
See ya.